It's more sports.
All right, we are back. This time it is official. A little snafu, got that echo fixed, and we are ready to roll tonight. We're going to talk with another Razorback linebacker. Last night it was bumper pool. Tonight it is Hayden Henry. He joins us now. Hayden, welcome into the show. Glad you're with us. Crazy week. Um, I just don't know really where to start except for the beginning and the news. And when you got it, what went through your mind that Coach Pittman had been let go?
Man, saw the notification come through ESPN, and definitely knew it was coming. Right? I mean, we saw the product on the field on Saturday, and knew for sure something had to happen. I didn't know if it was for sure going to be Coach Pittman, but someone was gonna get let go after that game. And so I saw that Coach Pittman was let go. I mean, first thoughts that go through the mind, I think about when Coach came in and just the kind of guy he was, and he was so different than Coach Morris. So we go from essentially they're really two polar opposite people, and you got Coach Morris, who's really introverted, kind of struggled to talk to the guys, build rapport with us, and a guy like Sam Pittman comes in, really a good old boy, and his favorite part of his job, in my opinion, was the players, spending time with us, getting to know us. And he's just a super good dude, right? Easy to be around, easy to talk with. Really felt like he loved you. And him and Jamie didn't have any kids, and so to me, it always seemed like we were his life, his children, so to speak. And I think you could feel that from time to time playing for him. And so, look, it had to be done. Right. I mean, we've seen what's been going on the last couple of years, and I think there's probably a lot going on behind the scenes that people don't know, but something had to happen. And so, I'm obviously upset to see Coach go, but I want the best for the program. And so I have faith that we're going to go out and find the right guy for the job, find somebody that wants to be the coach of the University of Arkansas and who can take us to the next level. Right. Coach Pittman kind of dug us out of that trough, if you will. And I feel like the next coach, it's their chance to really, right, get us to the next level and get us competing towards the top of the conference and for potentially a playoff. So that's really what the board of trustees and Hunter Yurchek, in my opinion, have to go out and find is like who's the guy that's going to get us there. So big tall task for those folks, but that's why they're paid the big bucks to get it done.
Do you have a theory on what went wrong?
I've got a lot of theories. I've got a lot of theories. Um, Look, one theory is I don't know if Coach ever fully embraced NIL. And for those listening, and for you, Wes, I would actually encourage you to watch Lane Kiffin's interview on the Pivot with Ryan Clark. He did an interview with those guys, and a lot of it's talking about his upbringing and his life, how he got into college football, how he got into coaching. But there's also a piece of it where he talks about kind of just the landscape right now in college football and what's going on. He has some really interesting takes in there, but the main takeaway that I got from Kiffin is essentially that Kiffin is 100% bought in. He's all in on NIL. For better or for worse, because he's got disagreements with it like we all do, he is 100% bought in, and he's accepted the fact that this is the future of college football. And if we want to win, we've got to embrace this. And Coach Pittman, Coach Pittman's really from that old guard of coaching. I mean, he's hard nosed, smash mouth, I formation. Like this dude predates the spread offense. Okay. He's been coaching a long time. Like he's cut from that Saban cloth. And you see what happened to Coach Saban, right? I mean, he's sick of it. He's not a Coach Saban. I'm not going to compare Pittman and Saban. Okay. They're very different people, but I think the mentality is very similar where Nick Saban, he was in coaching to develop the players, get them better, take a guy and turn him into a great player. And he could use his charisma to recruit effectively. And that was Pittman's big deal, right? I mean, he was never a head coach. He was associate head coach for Kirby at Georgia, but he had no head coaching experience, but came from the highest pedigree of college football coaching tree and was renowned as literally one of the best recruiters in the entire country. And so it's like, all right, if we're going to take a chance on this guy, I mean, this guy checks some of the boxes. Let's do it. He really wants the job. And I think he proved some of that. But what I'm getting to is essentially, I think Coach Pittman took the job before NIL. He took it in 2020. We couldn't even pay players yet. And coach is he's a coach. Okay. He's not, I don't think he's like the CEO that you really have to be in today's college football world where you're going out, you're fundraising, you're raising money. That's not him. He doesn't want to be that guy. Although I think he can turn it on. He never wanted to be that guy. And that's hard to do. And it's really hard to do every single year because you go raise money last year, right? I mean, you got to go raise more next year. That's really hard to do. I don't know if that was super easy for Coach. And just the lack of fully embracing that was probably tough. I think, Wes, one other point I would make, when he hired Odom and Bryles, absolutely knocked it out of the park, right? I mean, those two guys, really his first few years at Arkansas, those two guys probably covered up a lot of mistakes that he probably made as a head coach or kind of shortfalls that he had.
Mm-hmm.
Odom had a ton of experience, right? He had been an SEC coach. Bryles had been around ball his whole life. And to some degree, both of those guys were self-sufficient on their sides of the ball. So Pittman could kind of still, he's figuring it out. He's learning what it takes to delegate and be the guy, build the rapport with the players. And Odom and Bryles could just run the offense and defense. And so, Odom leaves, Bryles leaves, and I think they were big shoes to fill, and the guys that came in probably weren't able to fill them as well. And so, Pittman, I mean, think about Enos's year. Like Pittman probably had to step in a lot there and be like, hey man, like this isn't going right, and then he had to get back into offense and figure out what's going on. And he probably had to coach a lot more than he was. And it just causes distractions and everyone's not as organized on the same page. So, I mean, those are a couple of my thoughts. I think, we took a chance on him. I mean, that's really the bottom line. Like we took a chance on him. And can you say that he pulled us out of the trough we were in? How can you argue that he didn't do that? We were 2-10 for 2 years. We go on to win 3 SEC games his first year, and we win 5 the next. And we weren't able to get to that same, level of play afterwards. But he came in, and the thing that I always appreciated about Coach is he was such a fundamental guy. The game of football it's so flashy these days, the way people talk about the game. The game is really simple. It's blocking, tackling, and moving people off the ball. And I literally loved that about Coach because he just made the game so simple. He's like, guys, look, we're going to line up. They're going to spot the ball. He'd always say something funny like, fellas, I don't care if they spot the ball in the parking lot. We're going to go out there and we're going to play them. Like I just, that kind of mentality. That's how he is. Like, we'll play them in the parking lot. I don't care. And so he's like, look, we're going to spot the ball. And the bottom line is we're going to blow them off the ball more than we're going to knock them off the ball farther than they knock us off the ball. And we're going to move the ball down the field. It's really that simple. On defense, find the guy with the ball, get him on the ground. It's so simple. And I love that about Coach Pittman. He just saw it totally black and white, right? We don't need to put any sugarcoating on anything, which Morris did a ton of, right? I mean, Morris's offense probably had 700 plays, and we weren't good at running any of them. And so just simple, right? Make the game simple. It's super easy. Love those things about Coach, and I'm going to keep in touch with him. I love him. I think the world of him. He's tough as nails. Going to miss seeing him in red, but happy for the years that we had with him, and hope that we can find a guy that will kind of, pick up where he left off.
I'm glad you said simple because when you look at the defense and the problems they had, a lot of it may have been because it wasn't simple enough. What do you see the last couple of weeks, the Notre Dame game with the defense? What was the problem?
They're Wes, I'll be candid with you. I don't know. I could not figure it out. I've talked to several of my former teammates, and I'm like, "What are y'all seeing?" And they're like, "I don't know." And I think the takeaway probably is that we're we're not fundamentally sound. I also think we're not very good at any of the positions. Like that's tough to probably hear, but I don't think we're very good. Um, our defensive line is getting pushed around. Now that Notre Dame offensive line was pretty solid. Those guys were big and they played really physical. But I mean, we got to get pushed. Like if you're not going to get pushed, you're not going to win. And we look super out of shape, Wes, which is really bad. I mean, that's totally on coach, right? The guys are tired. I mean, we got guys after a few plays throwing the hands on the hips, loafing on the backside, outside zone play away from you, loafing on the backside. Absolutely unacceptable. Like, not going to win any games doing that. I mean, that's just football 101. You never know what's going to happen with the play. Running back cuts back, ball pops out. You need to be there to make it happen. We're not even pursuing the ball. And then there just has to be some sort of blanket miscommunications going on. The blown coverages, the only way that stuff happens if just two or three people aren't on the same page. Like they're probably out there running two different coverages. And that's as simple as getting the call from the sidelines, looking to your left and telling the guy what you just saw or heard. Or right, the backer who has the speaker in his helmet now, literally turning around and saying, "Here's the coverage," or giving your signal, whatever it is. And it's like, yeah, okay, yes, teams go tempo now. And that's when you literally just run your vanilla stuff. Like we're just going to run. Okay, guys, in the game plan, I know they did this. This is what everybody does. When you play a team with tempo, you know, on first and second downs, first and second long downs, you're going to be in this coverage. And third and short, you're going to be in this. Like these things, and so you know what the play is going to be. If they're going super fast, line up. You know you're going to run your base defense. So I've been super frustrated by it. In particular, just the loafing West. Like that's lack of effort. I mean, you're not going to win any games when you don't run after the ball. And I don't know where that broke down. I mean, look, you probably got to point a finger at the strength and conditioning coach because that is his job. And we got guys out there that are tired. Now, the rub there is offense seems to be fine. You notice that? I feel like the offensive guys, they look good.
How about the explanation of the problems in the second half with the offense? You think back, 7 points against Ole Miss, 3 against Memphis. Is that it? And then none against Notre Dame. Could it be the whole team? I was told that yesterday the first team spent 15 minutes running sprints towards the end of practice while the other guys were practicing on the second and third team.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that was something that was recognized by Coach Petrino, and then the first day that he takes over, they're out there running sprints, trying to get in shape.
I mean, I kind of like it. It's a little old school, but it's probably a little too late for that.
You got 2 weeks of running sprints. So you ought to be in better shape by the time Tennessee comes out.
Yeah, and we're going to need it against those cats. But that's probably more of just posturing by Coach Petrino. Kind of like, hey, fellas, there's a new sheriff in town, and things are about to change. And so I don't know. I kind of like that. I kind of like that from Coach Petrino, actually. A little old school. We're going to get out there and run some wind sprints.
What does Arkansas need for their next head coach? Because you nailed it with Morris. Pittman was the perfect guy that what y'all needed, from a head coach. What do you think this year's group or next year's group will need from a head coach?
I mean, look, I'll be honest with you. My early take is that I think Coach Petrino is going to get the job. And if that were to happen, then he needs to go out and obviously get a great defensive coordinator. If that doesn't happen, I truly don't know how this plays out, Wes, because the fans, right? The fans want a splash hire. They want they want James Franklin or Dan Lanning. Okay. Those guys are not leaving their schools. Yeah. Like the big dogs, the big splash hires, they're not leaving their schools. They're not going to the University of Arkansas, which is super unfortunate. I hate that it's like that, but our program has not been stable enough over the last probably 15 years for a guy who's doing really, really well at a Power 5 school to say, hey, I'm going to go take a chance in Fayetteville and go do that. The caveat there is you're playing in the SEC, and you probably get to the playoff nowadays you're going to have maybe one team a year get there with 3 losses. And if they end up expanding it where you have, 16 teams, no buys, then you definitely have a good shot just based off strength of schedule. What I would like to see is I want to see a guy from the Saban tree, which is a very big tree. Saban tree, Kirby tree, because those guys get it. Those guys get it. All right. You look at the Dabo Sweeney line, the tree. There are not many coaches that have had success from that tree. I want a guy that coached under Saban or coached under one of his former assistants that gets the process, understands what it takes to be successful, willing to go and take a chance at Arkansas. Now, I think, Wes, it's probably going to be a young guy who's up and coming, and I don't know. I have a feeling like the fans aren't going to be fired up about it with whoever it is, but you just never know. As long as they're willing to embrace NIL in this new era and be willing to do that and accept it for what it is and not really complain about it and instead go out and make the best of it. That's all you got to do, man. We just got to get the good players in, have good scheme, and we'll win some games. With the portal now, we can go get studs every year. That's tough because you got to keep the culture right. That's a big part of it. And having transfers come in every year, that doesn't make it easy. That was a super long-winded answer, and I did not answer your question at all. But
yeah, you did.
I'm
said
still kind of
processing.
Yeah, I'm still kind of processing it. I don't really know. I don't know what we need, and I don't know. I'm trying to put myself in Hunter's shoes and think, what is he thinking? Where is he? Right? Where does he kind of have a guy circled? I don't really know yet. I just hope it's a guy from Saban's tree.
You said something earlier and it made me think. Kevin Bohannon was with us on Out of Bounds today, and he threw out the name Fran Brown from Syracuse, who had left Georgia, and it really hurt Kirby when he left. It hurt when Dan Lanning left, but according to Kevin, he said Fran Brown leaving hurt Kirby more. And if the guy's able to win at Syracuse, you would think, maybe he can win at Arkansas too.
I've heard his name tossed around a lot. I don't know much about Fran, and so I don't know if I want to say too much because I don't know much about him. But yeah, I've kept up with Syracuse over the past few years, and they've won big games on big stages, with probably a mid to lower tier roster in that conference because right the Clemsons and North Carolina now and SMU, those guys are gobbling up NIL money, right? They got the money to pay those guys, and so for him to go out and do it with a under capitalized NIL programs, that's a lot.
Last question for you before we let you go. What do you want to see from this team when they play Tennessee a week from Saturday?
Look, I've been on a team. I was on the team when Coach Morris got fired. We had 2 games left. And Wes, you know this, but the team, it goes one of 2 ways. it goes, we got guys that buckle in and they're like, hey, you know what? We're not going to transfer. We're going to stick it out. We're going to play. We're going to play as a team. We're going to rally around Coach Petrino. We're going to play for Coach Pittman probably too. That's probably what they're doing as well. And they're going to rally together and try and play, a good brand of football. The other side of that is that you completely lose the locker room and there's tons of cancers in the program that aren't showing up for workouts, aren't showing up for practice, not giving their best effort, not paying attention in film. What I hope I see is, first and foremost, a defense that plays fast and physical and runs for the ball, because I'm so chapped about what I've seen the last 2 weeks that I just about can't get over it, Wes. I'm so bothered by that I seriously cannot get over it. I want to see people flying around. I want to see mouthpieces literally flying out of people's mouths when they get hit. Like, I'm so sick of this stuff, not just avoiding contact, not wrapping up, getting guys on the ground, not running after the ball. That's what I want to see first and foremost. And what I want to see, because I'm going to watch the TV copy, it's going to be away, is I want to see the camaraderie on the sidelines, because, you got a defense that literally has one coach left, right? One or two coaches.
Mm-hmm.
That means the players have to step up and make calls and keep the guys together. You're not going to have your coach out there telling you what you just did wrong. So it's on the guys as well to step up. It's on the leaders of that defense to step up, get everybody on the same page, and same goes for offense. So we'll see what kind of brand of guys we have on this team against Tennessee. We'll see if we got some studs that are going to rise to the occasion, or we'll see if we got a couple softies that are going to roll over and not wear the hog with pride, which very well could happen. And I hope the next time I come on the show, we aren't having to discuss that, Wes, because I'd love to see a bunch of guys that are flying around proud to be at Arkansas.
It's great stuff, Hayden. I always enjoy having you on, and I love and respect your opinion. And I know a lot of people do, and that's why they were excited to have you on tonight. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Wes. We're going to be all right, man. Go Hogs.
I know it. All right. Hayden Henry joining us. We're going to talk a little high school football now. We got the rankings to take a look. This week's sports media poll. In fact, let me pull that up, and I'll share that with everybody real quick. Some changes, a little bit of changes in the rankings this week. Had some couple of upsets out there in different classifications. All right, we'll start in 7A like we always do. Bryant still number 1, Bentonville 2. Rogers jumps up to 4. That's because you remember Fayetteville lost last week to Bentonville West. So Rogers moves from 4 to 3. Conway up 1 spot to 4. And there's Bentonville West entering the rankings with that 3-1 record. Impressive win by the Wolverines, beating Fayetteville last week. In 6A, it's still Greenwood number 1. They had the victory in the showdown with Shiloh Christian. Benton is 2. Shiloh stays at number 3. You got Mountain Home at 4, and Marion moves in. I'll tell you what, a lot of coaches I've been talking with have been impressed with Marion. Keep an eye on the Patriots. In 5A, Joe T. Robinson's number 1 now. You notice no Parkview in there. They're getting some votes, but not in the top 5 after losing last week to Hot Springs. You see Hot Springs ahead of Parkview, also receiving votes. But number 1 is Joe T. Robinson. Lakeside is number 2. Greenbrier enters the rankings at number 3. Panthers off to a 4-0 start. Farmington moves up a spot, and there's Searcy in the rankings for the first time this season. The Lions are 4-0. And by the way, I pretty much agree with those rankings. And keep an eye on Morrilton. They lost a tough game to Greenbrier, but that's another good team. And you got to give Hot Springs a little love after beating Parkview. And that 5A South is wide open for the first time in a while. In the 4A, we got Dardanelle moving up to number 1. That's because Arkadelphia lost last week. They lost to Nashville. Nashville's getting some votes, but Arkadelphia not number 1. Dardanelle is number 1 this week. Mills is number 2. Both of them are 4-0 this season. Arkadelphia drops to number 3. Got a tie for 4th with Elkins and Southside. And also receiving votes, let's see, Gosnell, Warren, Clinton, Nashville, Stuttgart. Got a Clinton and Dardanelle matchup coming, not this Friday, but the next Friday night. That'll be a big game. But I like these rankings. I like the way they sit right there. 1, 2, 3. Elkins lost to Dardanelle earlier this season. You know what? Look at Dardanelle. They've already beaten Elkins and Nashville. That's 2 quality wins for them. Sand Lizards proving themselves right now. In 3A, it's exactly the same. Everybody won last week. Salem, Fordyce, Charleston, Mansfield, and Smackover. 2A stays the same, right? EPC, actually, I guess Desart was tied for 5th last week, but they drop out after losing. So it's EPC, Junction City, Carlisle, Mount Ida, and Cross County. That's a look at your 5A rankings. Overall, was there much change? Bryant Bentonville 1, 2. Yeah, they had to change. Fayetteville drops all the way down to number 7. So it's Rogers tied with Greenwood at 3. Away at 5. Bentonville West moves from 10 all the way up to number 6. Fayetteville drops 4 spots. Benton stays at 8. Joe T. Robinson is 9. And Shiloh Christian falls 1 spot after losing in that showdown to Greenwood. Also getting votes right there on the outside looking in. Mountain Home. Tell you what, they've played some already this season. That's a look at your rankings. Let me stop sharing the screen. We're going to have a good Friday night. When we come back tomorrow night, we're going to have another back linebacker, former Razorback linebacker. Braylon Mitchell will join us. And then Thomas Thrash from Hootens Arkansas Football will join me. We're going to preview 6 of the top games. We'll take a look at the top game in 7A, 6A, 5A, 4A, 3A, 2A, and kind of preview each one of those games. So it'll be a busy Thursday night. Friday night, we're going to come back here and do a post-game show where we'll have coaches from all over the state joining us to kind of give a recap of their game. So we've got a very busy week coming up on More Sports. While you're here on YouTube, go ahead and like or subscribe to the YouTube channel. That way you know when there's a new video. Usually it's every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, about 6:30, 7 o'clock, somewhere in there. But go ahead and subscribe and join the More Sports crowd. We continue to grow. It's been a lot of fun. It's just going to get even better with this coach search and the new regime up in Fayetteville with interim head coach Bobby Petrino. That's going to do it for tonight. We'll be back here tomorrow night about the same time. I hope you can join us for More Sports.
All Arkansas, all sports.